Hi there, my name is Danayutta and I'm here at the London Buddhist Center, and this is just a little video on how to sit in meditation so that you can meditate effectively and be comfortable. So there are a number of principles that you might need to keep in mind if you want to have a good meditation posture, a posture that will let you sit for quite a long time without overexerting effort. The first principle is just to make sure that whatever posture you adopt, your knees are lower than your hips. So that's quite important because the moment that your knees are lower than your hips, your spine can just rise up in its natural shape. If you lift your knees above your hips, you'll tend to sort of make a little C shape with the spine, and then it's quite hard to meditate from a curled over position like this. So the easiest meditation position that you can adopt is just sitting on a hard chair like this. This is a chair that we have here at the Buddhist Center. Any sort of dining chair, an upright chair will be suitable. And if you are able to, one of the things you might want to do is just to raise the back of the chair a little bit. So I've just used a couple of yoga blocks. Thick books might be helpful if you don't have any yoga blocks to hand. And then you sit on a chair with your bottom a little bit away from the back of the chair so that your spine can just rise up quite naturally, unsupported. And then I've got a folded up blanket for my hands. So once you're in meditation position, you want to feel like you're not using too much energy to hold your chest open and your spine upright. And this propped up seat just allows for that shape to naturally occur. So this is the easiest position for meditation that most of us will be able to access. You can, of course, sit on a chair and, sit on the floor. And there are two ways to sit on the floor. You can sit on the floor cross-legged, or you can sit on the floor kneeling down. But the same principle applies. So if you were sitting cross-legged or sitting astride some cushions. These are some meditation cushions that we have here at the Buddhist Center. You want to, again, just make sure that your hips are higher than your knees. So, sitting astride, kneeling like this. Just have your hips higher than your knees. Again, the back can just rise up quite naturally. I'm not using very much energy to hold myself upright. And then what you might want to do is, again, just to support your hands. And you can do that by using, here again, I've just got a couple of yoga blocks and a little blanket like this. Or if you want to, you can also wrap the blanket around you and make a little sort of pouch for your hands. That's another way you can support your hands. So this is quite an easy position. Again, most people will be able to sit like this for quite a long time, unless you've got knee injuries or hip injuries that make this position uncomfortable. But for most people, this will be suitable. If you don't have these meditation cushions at home, what you might also want to do is, again, use some yoga blocks, or you might even want to use some quite thick books. Once I had a kind of big fat biscuit tin that was left over from Christmas, and I used that as well. If you're using books, though, you might just want to add a tiny layer or a kind of like one layer of cushion just at the top, just so that it's not so hard for your sit bones. The last posture that I want to demonstrate is to sit cross-legged. That's a slightly more difficult posture. You do actually need quite open hips and quite open knees and ankles to be able to access a cross-legged posture. But I can just show you. So just again, a couple of meditation cushions. And what you want to make sure when you're sitting cross-legged is that your knees are supported either by the ground, or if they don't quite reach the ground, maybe using a thin cushion or a thin bit of blanket. Again, you probably want to just support your hands like this. So I've got quite open hips and my knees can easily touch the ground. For some people, you might want to sit cross-legged, but your hips aren't quite open yet. But the cross-legged posture is still quite comfortable. What you might want to do is to then just make sure that your knees are supported by a little bit of, meditation cushion. But what you can see here now is that with my knees raised, they're about the same level as my hips. My back just almost immediately collapses. So you can immediately hunch over, particularly in the lower back. And that's just because of the relationship of height between your knees and your hips. So what you might want to then do is actually just to lift your hips again a little bit more. So just raise the hips a little bit. And then your back is again into this nice open posture. And again, I would always use something to support my hands. Sometimes meditating cross-legged like this, people like to have their hands on their knees, and that's possible, just depending on how your upper back, how strong your upper back is. But if you don't particularly have a very sort of strong and healthy and open upper back, I just really recommend having your hands on something, because after a while, if they're on your knees, they tend to slide forward, and again, one tends to slump. Okay, so those are my top tips on posture. Just really want to wish you good luck with your meditation. And posture is something that a meditator works on over and over again throughout the whole of their meditation career. So there's always something new to learn about adjusting posture.